I'm gonna throw this one out there. You might have a different opinion. You might not. I feel a lot of people will have different opinions to me. I feel episode 4 of Moon Knight was the worst episode so far. I'm willing to be destroyed. I'm willing to hear other people's opinions, but I think from a pacing standpoint, from a story standpoint, from a character standpoint, it was a mess. It was an absolute mess. Hey, NarendraTheComic here!
Nonsense!
Yes, and right now we're gonna be doing our episode 4 review of Moon Knight. Don't at me. Please don't at me. But we have to be honest.
It did rely on that big twist a bit too heavily. Because before the twist, the pacing was all over the place.
Before the twist, I was almost falling asleep.
He was.
I really was. I was like, why do I feel so hazed and dazed out right now? I really did. But the twist happened. It was like, whoa. We're in a white scene. Everything's all crazy. People are going a bit insane. And it did reinvigorate the episode. But prior to that, other than the Alexander the Great moment, which I thought was really, really well done, there wasn't really much in this episode for me. So, yeah, maybe you can lead this one, speaking about why you liked it so much, because there's not much that I really loved.
I think there's a problem here, because I didn't love it that much either.
Oh, okay.
It's not the worst one yet, but...
Oh, right, I think it is. I think episode 2 was the best episode so far, then 1, then 3, then 4. I think that's the way I have it. So that means you think 4 is in between, what, 1 and 3? Because we both agreed 2 was the best, I think.
I think 4 is coming in at number 3.
Okay.
For me, personally, right?
All right.
I just feel like this episode, some of the reveals, before the big twist, they weren't really reveals.
No, they weren't,
With
were
Mark and her father, Layla's father, it was very apparent he had a hand in his death, right?
Yeah.
So that didn't come as a surprise to anybody. Apart from Layla, it seems. Even though this has been a topic that they must have talked over in the past and she would have seen his body language change, right?
You'd think so.
I would think so, considering they were married.
Yeah.
But came as a shock to her. And Arthur Harrow knew about it, which I guess because the scales he knows these things. But how does he know of so many details about her father?
Well, maybe that's one of the most conflicting things about Mark's life. So because of that, it was a prominent point on the scales when he looked through his life, or when Amit looked through his life. So I think that kind of makes sense. The magic system's kind of working there. One thing that was good was the fact that they did introduce Mark's backstory in the way it is in the comics. So the way he gets his powers by Khonshu, becoming the Fist of Vengeance, is because basically one of his other mercs does him in and says, I want all the goods. And they did address that in this, and they kind of have the same original backstory with the comics and the TV show. And they've retrofitted her dad's character into that, and I think that works.
Yeah.
But I just don't really love their chemistry either. I don't think Layla and Mark have the best chemistry. I don't think Layla and Steven have the best chemistry. It just feels a bit janky.
Yeah, there's something very forced about it.
It's not bad. It's not really, really bad. It's not the worst chemistry I've seen on screen by a country mile, but it's not good.
Yeah, there's something very off when they're having these conversations, and even when they're in really close proximity together. There are a lot of shots in this episode particularly where they were really face to face, where they almost kissed and they kind of kissed and then they didn't and they did and all these other things. Yeah. It just felt like it didn't have the right place in this episode for where their characters have been going, right? I get from Layla's perspective, she's like, oh my gosh, you smell like him. Oh, well, you would smell like him because it's the same body. Like, okay, I get it. And I know for you, this is a new aspect of him. Maybe because of the Moon Knight suit, Mark smelled differently.
Right, to the Mr. Knight suit.
Maybe.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I don't know.
Bringing the goods.
But there's something about it that just seems very unnatural.
Yeah.
And it feels very forced.
And then when you get to the twist, the big boy twist, which there was a big boy twist in this episode, it's not that the twist wasn't earned, but I think they played for the twist more than I would have liked them to.
Yeah.
Because overall, this episode was very, very heavy with lulls. It was very low. There wasn't much going on, really. And then they went, bang!
Yeah.
We've just changed the show. But I don't feel like I've really got to know Mark that well. And we definitely haven't got to know Steven.
No.
So because of that, it's almost like they've pulled the rug from under you while you've been learning about these characters, while you've been getting to know them, and you don't have that rapport with them to actually care enough yet.
Yeah, I do think what they're playing for is in the next 2 episodes, we're going to find out a lot of information about them. I have this feeling about this white asylum that he's in. I don't think he's dead. I think this is either the afterlife or an in-between.
I don't know. I think this might just be in his own head.
But then he's alive, and this is in his own head before he gets up after being shot, right?
Yeah.
See, I think he's between life and death.
You saw the light swaying in the hallway. I think that was like his equilibrium shifting because he was in the water and swaying about.
Or that could have just been the reality within the void shifting as he's running around because it's based around him, Stephen and Mark together. Oh, and there was that moment where he pulled Stephen out of the sarcophagus. And then in the other room, there was that other sarcophagus that was like jumping around.
Yeah.
Who's in that?
I'm assuming it's Jake Lockley. I'm assuming it's personality number 3. But then the question is there personality number 4? Are they going to introduce some other personalities as well for the show?
It could.
This next part could be considered a jump scare, and that was when a giant talking hippopotamus walked out of some doors into Mark and Stephen, and they both freaked out. That was funny.
No, the freak out faces were brilliant.
They were great.
They were really, really believable. The 2 different types of screams, but the same face. The one thing I didn't get is that this was a big, scary-looking hippopotamus. No disrespect. And then the voice was like, hi. Hey, guys. Hi. Hey, guys. It was so cute, right? So if this is a god, I don't know.
It's a god. 100% it's a god.
But what's the god of?
I don't know.
And why does he now have other gods coming knocking?
It's a good point. It's a good point. Maybe that god is going to take him to be judged if it is, like, pre-afterlife. If it's pre-afterlife, then maybe that's the case. I don't know.
That might be a shout, actually. I don't remember. Be nonsense, I don't know the Egyptian gods well enough. When we were kids, we learnt about them, but we didn't learn all of the gods and what they do. So
there was like Ra, Isis, Osiris,
Horus, Amun-Ra, stuff like that.
We don't know everything, all right? We know a lot. But we don't know everything.
We don't know everything.
No. I just hope episode 5 is better, man. I know it's going to be controversial, me saying episode 4 was not good.
One thing I didn't like was the Heka Priests. When they were first introduced, I liked them. I liked the concept. It was kind of scary, this clicking thing that was tearing humans apart.
They were creepy.
Right? But by the end of the episode, they felt very villain of the week.
Yeah, throwaway. They turned into throwaway. They didn't need to be throwaway, but they turned into throwaway, didn't they?
And that doesn't seem right. I guess the idea is that there's a lot of magic going on and Alexander the Great had to have all this stuff to keep his tomb safe. But there were only 2 of them, right? Unless Arthur Harrow's men killed a lot more of them.
Maybe.
There were only 2, and Layla miraculously survived this fall that I really didn't like. That was terrible.
What, do you want her dead?
No, there could have been a ledge underneath that they fell onto, and then she kicked the Heka Priest off. That would have been more reasonable. But they fell, and they fully fell.
And they gave a thud, thud.
And then she's just hanging.
And you're like, oh, so she's dead. I went, Indy, come on. You know she's not dead. She's not dead. She's just going to be superhuman somehow.
She's a regular person, okay? Give her the regular person means.
I suppose something coming out of this episode would be the idea and the concept that what if the asylum is actually the reality and everything we've seen prior is actually in his head?
No, that's too close to I've had this whole long experience and it was a dream. No, that is disgusting. That is not real. I will not have it.
But then when Arthur Harrow, who was the doctor in those scenes at the end, when he was talking to Mark, he brought forward this video, VHS, and I mean, it does lean towards the idea that this is all in his head.
Well, maybe there are elements of truth.
That's who Mark based Stephen Grant off of,
Maybe there are some small truths, but I don't think that the asylum is real. I don't think that's been where everything's based, and all the people in the asylum are the ones that Mark's been getting involved in the asylum and been dreaming up these alternate realities for himself, right? That would be so wrong. I would be so annoyed.
I do think there are some through lines with Egyptian mythology. I remember in Yu-Gi-Oh, if you ever watched that show, when he was going through the doors and potentially seeing different versions of himself in sarcophagi, maybe? I don't know the plural of that word. It's not really one said very often in modern day. But when he was doing that, I did feel very Yu-Gi-Oh. You know, when he goes into the Millennium Puzzle. maybe you don't remember these things
I
very
remember little
much,
bits.
you know. But it did harken back to that, and I liked that aspect of it. But yeah, it was just a bit too wishy-washy.
I feel like people are gonna hate us for the phrase wishy-washy.
Wishy-washy? What do you want? What do you want?
It was a bit wishy-washy though. This episode in particular, I really feel like the reveal has to continue, and they have to really go through this line.
Episodes 5 and 6 need to be absolutely phenomenal.
They have to be mind-blowing.
to recover from this point for me.
Yeah.
Because 1, 2, and 3 were good. They were all good. This, for me, has actually been a bad piece of television.
Yeah.
Not that it wasn't interesting, especially the last, like, 10, 15 minutes. But
We need more, guys. We need more than that. For the characters and for the story itself. It's too big a spanner to throw in the works. And I understand that this is a very cerebral show and they're trying to portray that. But we need to feel more from Stephen and Mark and find out more about them to really give a shit. You know?
need more shits given. More shits need to be given. Anyway, guys, if you did enjoy this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel down there if you didn't. Mr. Knight, gonna come after you. You don't want that. No. Do they want that?
No.
You really don't. So just subscribe anyway to avoid that. I've been NarendraTheComic.
I've been Non-Sensei.
She's been Non-Sensei. You've been Graham. We'll see you next time. That's tomorrow if you don't know, make a video every single day. Been doing it every day for over 1,000 days now. We ain't stopping till we get to 10,000 subscribers. So do subscribe. Pop back again tomorrow for some more quality shitty content. Hashtag never not here, just how it goes. Also bring the pakwas means nonsense in Punjabi. We also bring that, bring a lot, bring a little, do a lot, do a little, but we do indeed bring the quality shitty content on a daily basis. So see you tomorrow, more of the same, slightly different, but essentially the very same. The very, very, very same. Once more, see you then. Skadoosh.
I got you! I got you! Take that, you friggin' psycho! I got you!